Building downtown.
It's the Building Downtown, joined again with Amy Barton. We've been doing this since Prince was the bomb, before he changed his name and started making whack songs. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at the Building DT. Subscribe, follow, whatever, on all the places that are good. You know, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, all that shit. I'm your host, Jason Kelly. Krill Kasatsky could not be with us tonight. Hopefully back sooner than later. I'm joined again with Amy Barton. How you doing tonight, Amy?
I mean, I'm in the epicenter of the apocalypse. So what do you want me to say?
Yeah, she's a New York, not only New York State, but New York City. The epicenter of the fucking epicenter. It's not like you're up in fucking Buffalo or Niagara Falls, New York.
I know. And not only this, in terms of New York City, there's 5 boroughs, right? There's Manhattan, Queens, Staten Island, Brooklyn. Wait, I'm retarded. Manhattan, Staten Island, Queens, Brooklyn. What's the other one?
Oh, come on. You're fucking failing so bad right now.
You're so bad at being in New York.
I'm not giving you the answer. I don't even live in your country and I know this.
No, tell me. Wait. No. Manhattan, Queens, Brooklyn. Oh, the Bronx.
There you go.
So, yeah. Oh, I have so many friends in the Bronx. Anyway, but that being said, we're at the epicenter for sure, which is like horrifying in and of itself. But not only Brooklyn, which is the largest borough, Brooklyn is the epicenter of New York City, which is the epicenter of this country. But also, the particular area I'm in is like the epicenter of Brooklyn. What up, girl? Sorry. So it's like particularly, I don't know about scary, you know, like I'm not like an alarmist. I'm not like, oh my gosh, I can't go outside and walk my dogs and see people across the street and not catch the thing. But it is a sobering thing, right? When you're looking at these numbers and, you know, look, there are all these people and all these things. Oh, you're young. You're not going to die. You might get sick, but you're not going to die. And I'm really glad I'm not going to die. I'm really, really glad.
I'm pretty glad about that too. I'm happy with that.
I hope most.
Don't die or I'll beat the shit out of you.
Great.
That's the advice I'm giving people. Good, like close friends of mine. That's the advice I give them. Don't die or I'll beat the fucking shit out of you.
But here's an example. Just what time is it? Almost 9. Just an hour and a half ago, it was like, hey, New York City reported 1,600 new cases and 155 new deaths in an evening update. Not just today, just tonight. So it's one of those things where, like, you know, I have a former lifetime in healthcare, so I feel like I'm a little more cognizant of things like that than other people. And I don't want to, I'm not going to die, but I don't want to get sick. Who wants to get sick? And I don't want to maybe get somebody else sick who could die.
That's the big thing right there. The passing it on. Like, chances are you're going to live, right? If you get it. But it's the passing it on to other people. And not even if it's going to kill them. It's still just going to keep fucking, you know, circling, spreading, whatever it may be. Just fucking, people need to be wary of that. It's not about you selfish fuck.
Well, okay, so here's a fun fact. When I was a kid, one of my neighbors actively had and died of tuberculosis, which is not fun. But the fun fact is, I was exposed to it, which I didn't ever know until I was an adult. And then when I was working in healthcare...
That's what I was going to say. When you're working for healthcare, you must have had to get a TB test.
Right. So I don't know if all people or most people or any people, really, if you've never been in healthcare, know how this works. But there are 2 ways to verify that you do or do not have TB aside from symptoms. One is actually a skin test. Yeah. And by a skin test, I mean, you obviously know, but maybe other people don't. Like,
I'm sure most don't.
Yeah. And they just like prick your skin and they, you know, put a thing on the surface of your skin and you react or you don't react. That's one thing. And that's called a MAN2 or a PPD. The other way is a chest x-ray to see if you're actively ill. So I have had many MAN2s or PPDs, and they always come up positive because I was exposed to it as a child. Thankfully, I've never like had it or experienced it in a way in which would mean illness, but I carry it. And so then I get the test, it comes up positive every time. I have to go get a chest x-ray. So all of that being said, why I say that is that I would be still, no matter what, on the front line of y'all need to be responsible. Let's do this together. Stay at home. Like, oh, no, not everybody's going to die, but like, you all have parents, you all have grandparents, aunts, uncles, neighbors, people who aren't old, but have heart conditions or cancer or diabetes or whatever. Yeah. I would feel that way anyway. But the reality is, I'm a TB carrier, though I don't have it actively, and I am iron deficient anemic, which, to spare everybody the medical explanation, means it means a lot of things. But one of the things it means is that your body is not efficiently carrying oxygen from cell to cell around your body, which with a respiratory illness is critical, right? So to me, even if I was like literally the picture of perfect health, which I'm not, I'm fat, I smoked for like 20 years. There are things that I would have
Last night you were looking for weed.
I mean, all right. Because I have uncontrolled anxiety, but I digress. I have not smoked weed in like 15 years. But the point is that, I would be anyway, the first person to be like, hey, the greater good. And look, I'm not Bernie Sanders over here, right? Like, I'm not talking socialism, but I am talking about, if you're talking about letting 1 million or 2 million people die to kickstart the stock market, you can go fuck yourself and die in an AIDS-ridden fire. And so I'm that person anyway. But a thing that I really don't like tell a lot of people or focus on is that if you want to talk about, okay, there are more younger people now getting it, and not only getting it, the younger people get it, they just don't get that sick from it. But there are more younger people now getting it and getting sick from it. It's skewing younger. But you talk about at-risk populations, and people think about 103-year-old grandmas. The reality is, if you want to sit here and argue with me about socialism or Trump or the economy, and we have to kickstart it, and we need to go back to work and quarantine the old people. Look, if you want to be realistic, I am, aside from the fact that I live in one of the hot spots of the hotspot, I'm at risk. I carry TB. I don't have it at the moment, but I carry it. That's a big risk. I'm anemic. My body doesn't transmit oxygen properly throughout it. So I am one of those people that if somebody gave it to me, not only could I not be symptomatic, not only could I experience some horrible, horrific version of flu symptoms, I could literally die. And I'm not that worried about it. I'm being safe. I'm being smart. I, for the most part, stay at home. I mean, I go for a walk once a day, but that's where, and I haven't said that a lot publicly because I don't want people to be frantic or worry or give my parents a new thing to think about that they hadn't thought about before. But that's one of the things that when people are like, stay at home, do your part, that's what they mean. I'm 36. If you give it to me, chances are unlikely that I'll die compared to my parents, but chances are more likely that I'll die than you.
Yeah, definitely. And that's not like I have a big fucking fear of this because both my lungs collapsed before, right? So I fucking not like I keep thinking about it in the back of my head, like, oh, this is happening to me. But it's like fucking I don't know what kind of chance I stand. I think I'll be all right because I don't really have breathing problems, but I don't know what having that issue in the past And if I get this shit, I don't know how that's going to affect, because I hear things about COPD, other lung issues, right? Breathing problems, diabetes, obviously, heart conditions, obviously, and obviously elderly or very, very young.
Cancer, too.
Right.
I mean, anything.
Yeah. But I haven't heard a fucking thing, and I'm sure they're not like, well, what about people who have their lungs collapse? Obviously, the first people you have to look out for are the people who have lung disease, heart disease, things like that, right? Or they're just fucking old, as opposed to like, well, what about people whose lungs have collapsed, right? So I haven't seen anything on that. I don't know how the fuck that's going to affect me. The way I'm approaching it, it's fucking, sadly, this is the only life advice I've ever taken from a fucking meme. Don't act like you're not trying to get it. Act like you have it. You're not trying to spread
You already have it, right?
Yeah,
Totally.
That's the fucking.
And here's the reality: people who have underlying conditions, comorbidities, whatever you want to call them, like you just said, the cancers, the emphysema, the COPD, the diabetes, there's a long list, right? However, you can be relatively or completely healthy, whatever that means, and still have a problem with this, because if you're asthmatic, like Brie, if you have seasonal allergies, if you caught the common cold, which also, I might add, is a coronavirus. It's not this one, but it is a coronavirus. We're at the tail end of flu season. If you're a smoker, whether that be cigarettes or weed or maybe vaping, maybe not, depending on what you're vaping, any of those things. I mean, I'm not passing judgment. I've done all of those things in my lifetime. But the fact of the matter is, you don't have to be 90. You don't have to have cancer, heart disease, or collapsed lungs, or diabetes, or any of these things. You can have seasonal allergies. You can have a cold. You can have the flu. And if that's actively happening in your life and in your body, you are at increased risk for two reasons. One, your immune system is already compromised in not a real serious way in most other cases, but already compromised. One. And two, we're talking about respiratory things. So if you don't even have to do that much research or homework, but if you read about it and you're like, hey, how does that happen? You get the thing, it goes into your lungs, some of it crystallizes, you have scar tissue, fluid builds up like pneumonia, you die, whatever.
Yeah.
You talk about the common cold and allergies and the flu and whatever. All of those things predispose you to being in the at-risk category. Like the flu is not that big a deal. Allergies are not that big a deal. Smoking is dumb, but people do it. And some people do it for their entire lifetimes, never get cancer. So in some ways, and I'm not saying smoking is not a big deal, but I'm saying in some ways that's not a big deal. But if you do or have any of those things and get this thing, it compounds it so exponentially that all of it becomes the biggest deal. And then you're on the news. Nice to know you.
Yep. Yeah, you're in a fucking freezer truck outside a fucking hospital in Brooklyn.
Queens, but yes.
Well, fucking. Oh, they just in Queens?
Well, I mean, there may be more now, but like the one that made the headlines, that was in Queens.
Oh, fuck. The way it came out. This is another thing I hate. You don't know what the fuck to believe. That's like Rizzo, fuck Joe Rizzo, our buddy. He has family back in Italy, right? And they by the way, Joe Rizzo has a new podcast out called Diamond Diehards, at Diamond Diehards on Twitter. If you're a fucking baseball fan, go follow it. I hate baseball. It's like watching grass grow with people on it, but some of you motherfuckers might be into that. So check out at Diamond Diehards or at Rear Naked Choke on Twitter is how you can find him. So yeah, anyway, he has family back in Italy, and a few weeks ago, because I'd see, nonsense come out. There was one article, I forget what it was about, but someone that I know personally as a friend shared the article. And then in the comments, there was a person.
Was not
what?
Me. Was it me? Was not me.
No. And it's nobody of anything that anybody would know. You don't even know the person. That's why I didn't bother saying their name. Not like I'm trying to hide their identity. It's just a friend, right? Shared something from Italy, and a person commented on it and said that they're from Italy, lived in Italy all their life. They're going to school in the United States, and they said that publication is the equivalent of the National Enquirer. But the fucking, you look at the article and it's like, oh my God, holy shit. Because we don't live in Italy. We don't know that it's straight trash, right? Like there's no legitimacy to this article or this.
Wait, was it an Italian? Wait, was it an Italian publication?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But this Italian person lived in the United States or lives there now. So they put that in the comments. I was like, oh, okay. But you read the article and it's like, holy fuck, all hell is breaking loose. Well, not that it isn't. I'm just saying like the article was inaccurate information. So I asked Joe, like, this, like I said, this is a couple weeks ago. Italy's been bad for longer than that, but Italy was starting to pick up in the worst way, and we were starting to get hit more in North America. So I asked Joe, I was like, is it as bad as the reporting, worse than the reporting? Like, it's hard to know what's the truth and what's not. And he said it was worse.
Were you asking him about like Jersey, New York? What do you?
Italy, because he has family back in Italy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right. So like what you're saying about the Queens, that freezer truck in Queens. Oh, well, I've seen articles. Fucking every hospital in every borough of New York has these freezer trucks lined up outside, and now you're saying the big headline is one in Queens. So this is where the people should not be producing bullshit, because someone like me, okay, I'm up in the fucking Toronto area. You're in fucking NYC. NYC is what, an 8-hour drive from here, tops? Fucking
maybe less, but yeah.
Yeah, right. So it's 8 hours tops. So, like, I'm gonna not believe every fucking thing I read, but if I see like, oh, it was in Queens, now in Brooklyn they're doing it, now in fucking Harlem they're doing it, it's like, oh shit, wow, they're doing it everywhere in NYC. Sure. But like you just said, right? You just said it's the one hospital in Queens, right? So it doesn't even have to be like from here to Italy away. It's here to 8 hours away. When bullshit gets reported like that, it's fucking. Okay. I thought it was every hospital.
Well, okay. Here's a few things though. The thing that spurred what you're talking about was one nurse who videoed off and on for 72 hours, doctor, in her hospital in Queens. And I wish I could remember that. I feel like it was like Elmhurst. It doesn't matter. But so that hospital at that time had like, what do you guys call them? You're in the business. A semi, a trailer. What do you call that?
Yeah, like a drive-in?
No, like an 18-wheeler, like the thing that's hooked on.
Drive-in. That's what that's called. You're talking like the normal semi-trailer, like enclosed trailer with the doors on the back. Right?
Yeah. Like you're driving down the highway and you're like, oh, there's a big semi truck.
Drive-in.
Honk, honk. Right.
Drive-in.
That's
okay. Term for that.
I've actually never heard that term, but when she published, or Wall Street Journal or whoever published her video and her story and her whatever, they had gotten at that hospital one of those trucks or trailers or whatever to be at the hospital. It's refrigerated. And at that time, when that happened, during that story being active, they had 13 dead people. So here's the other thing that you got to think about. It's a hospital. So like right now, the focus is this virus, right? And you got to talk about ventilators and ICU and being contagious. And like, you got to talk about a lot of things. But if you're in a place where you need to be in a hospital, you may or may not be at risk for dying. So it seemed like the 13 people they said that had died that day, this is 2-3 days ago at this point, I think died of this. And so, it was not an isolation measure. It was basically just like, we are not completely overwhelmed yet, but we will be. And also, hospitals are not these giant places. Some hospitals are very big, but like, you don't generally have 13 people die at one time in a hospital. And if you do, it's generally not of something like this. So all of that to say, you need to contain the contagion. So take the bodies to an isolated place, right? Like a refrigerated truck. But at the same time, they were planning ahead, which is what our governor here, Cuomo, has been just screaming from the rooftops, is that, you see all these numbers and all these statistics, and New York City is at the apex of all of this stuff in this country, which it is, will be, and should be. The population density here is retarded. The 6 feet social distancing thing on a regular day, I mean, we should all be staying inside and staying home right now. But on a regular day, you can't, and I'm sure Toronto in the metro area is the same way.
Yep.
You can't walk down the street, down the sidewalk, and be 6 feet away from anybody. You might be lucky if you're 6 inches away from somebody. But what's crazy at this point, and we'll get back to the refrigerated truck thing in like 30 seconds, is that we, at least here, are now on a news cycle where New York specifically, state and city, but the city is the bigger part of it, we're reporting deaths, and news stations are picking up and reporting that information hourly or a couple times a day. I got a notification, I don't know, like 2 hours ago, that was like, hey, breaking news, New York City reported 1,600 new cases and 155 new deaths in their evening update. So
you think about how many people, though, like, first of all, live there, and how many people touched down traveling either through there, coming back to there, visiting there. So it's, I mean, not that it's not
now, but
that people should not.
Ago,
I'm not saying like, people should not be alarmed or anything. You definitely should be, but it's still like, and by no means am I trying to like fucking be like, well, it's not that bad. I'm just saying, like, take into account how many people plus how many people fucking touch New York. Not even a weekly basis, a daily basis. Think of how many people touch that state, hourly even, right? Like, think how many people touch LaGuardia and JFK and shit, right? Fucking, and you guys have fucking ships coming in there too.
Right.
Oh, the subway is a fucking cesspool with no fucking, with no COVID. Like, that shit's.
Well, wait, let me, you have never been more right. But the point I was getting at is that the refrigerated truck thing, for people who may or may not have seen that, who are not right here, or who don't have context or whatever, that was a thing a day or two ago or 3 in Queens at one hospital. So I'm not downplaying it. But what I'm saying is that particular hospital had a high number of cases, and in one day, a high number of deaths. And so, logistically, you can't just take dead bodies and throw them in the hall. You can't have gatherings, you can't have funerals right now. So you have to put them somewhere, right? And morgues are and will continue to be overwhelmed. So the point of all that is that that was a day, 2-3 days ago, whatever. That, to bring this all back to where you started, is why people are freaking out, why some governments and or some leaders are being so crazy and so strict and so aggressive about all this. And it's not because, hey, 98% of you could get this, and if you do, you'll be fine. It's because the healthcare system, no matter what country you're in, Italy has a very sophisticated healthcare system. And for weeks now, they've been choosing who gets treated and who dies or doesn't die based on age, because they're so overwhelmed. And so, whether you're talking about New York City or Toronto or Seattle or LA or Montreal or Vancouver or wherever it is, because it will be all those places. It's a matter of not overwhelming the system. It's not you.
We lost you.
Outside and hang out, play basketball and congregate in groups, Because when we take it to other people, they could die and they're going to be in the hospital. The hospitals can't handle it. And then the Gerald Harrises of the world, which I talked about in the last time we recorded,
Yeah.
because when his kid falls out of a tree and breaks its arm, they can't get treated. When somebody with cancer, or even right now, lupus patients, right? Trump was like, oh yeah, chloroquine, hydroxychloroquine, and whatever, all these things. It's not proven, but it seems promising. That's another example of the healthcare system being strapped. I can't tell you how many reports I've already seen of people being like, oh my God, I have lupus. I need chloroquine. Like, that's my medication. It's FDA approved. We've been using it for decades. However, my doctor, my hospital, my insurance company, my whoever emailed me and said, hey, for the foreseeable future, you can't refill your prescription. Sorry. Thank you for your sacrifice. And these are people using this drug for a proven, medically studied, FDA cleared, remedy for a disease they have, versus a thing that may work, may not work. We don't really know yet, but it's crazy because it's like there's so much information and so much misinformation that people just clamor to do whatever they can do or whatever they think they can do. And it's like, at least here, I feel like, and I want to, I've been talking for a long time now, but I want to hear more about Canada. Like, I know you have less cases than us. I know you have less population than us. And in the places, the population is dense, like Toronto, like Montreal, like Vancouver. The threat and the concern is real, just like it is here. But you guys are also not at the point we are. So that's like, not even to change my own subject, but like, I'm curious about that. Like, you have Trudeau, right? Who's like, oh, my wife has it. I'm going to self-isolate. Idris Elba has it. He's going to self-isolate. And how my wife gave
I'm sure
it to
you'd self-isolate with Idris Elba, wouldn't you?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yo.
There's never been a fucking half a second of gay in my life, but I'm Idris Elba, maybe. Yo, man, fucking, there's like, as a man, you can feel good. Like, I look good right now. I'm going out tonight, like, getting, especially a younger man, young 20s. I'm getting some girls. I got that cologne, like 90,000 on me. But you look at Idris Elba and you're just like, fuck it. I mean, what's the point? Why do I even go outside anymore?
Right. Okay.
God damn.
My mostly joking, but not completely joking statement was, if Sophie got it, and I think, because I have not read enough, I think the jury is out on if Sophie gave it to Idris or Idris gave it to Sophie. But the point is, how did she potentially give it to him and not her own husband? I have so many questions.
Oh, here comes tabloids, right?
Well, I mean, look, I'm trying to not be tabloidy, and I'm not trying to like conspiracy theory, but like, medically speaking, you're in the same house, you share a space, you kiss each other, you sleep in the same bed, you share the same bathroom, you're eating the same food. So I'm not even trying to be all tabloidy, but just like, logistically speaking, how did you give it to this other guy, but your husband, who you live with, did not get it from you?
Who knows what goes on behind closed doors? Have you ever heard the real Slim Shady?
Who are you talking to?
So when do we move on from the COVID talk?
Wait,
it's so hard to neglect.
Wait. But before we move on from COVID, I want to hear your answer. Like, I know numerically Canada is not in the place, and I don't even want to say New York City or New York State, but like, Canada is not yet in the place that New York is. My question is to you, postulating here, because you're not a healthcare worker, you're not, privy to immigration and travel and all these things politicians are. what do you attribute that to? Like, why are cases in Canada, especially in Canadian cities that are so close to America, like Toronto, like Montreal, like Vancouver, why is the caseload so much less there than it is here? And by here, I mean America, but also New York.
People. You have more. There's more people in California or in Los Angeles than there is in Canada.
So just population density. You
That's
think that's the only reason?
Now, see, like I was talking to my dad about this the other day. You think fucking northern Saskatchewan's gonna get hit with a bunch of cases? Fuck no. Most of Saskatchewan's not gonna. Or like northern Manitoba? Fuck no. Newfoundland has, I think, 2 cases. The territories? Who the fuck's going to friggin' alert Nunavut? Nobody. CP,
No, agreed. But how do you explain like the Torontos and the Vancouvers and the Montreal? I mean, not only because they're close to America, but population dense. Like, why are they not in the city?
GTA in Southern Ontario, from following along with this, early next week, mid next week is where we're going to see our spike. Because
wait, what's GTA?
Greater Toronto Area.
Yeah.
They're that's like Mississauga, all that shit, Scarborough, all that shit. Obviously Toronto. Early next week, mid next week, because so many people came back to Pearson Airport in Toronto about a week ago, 10 days ago, like 9 days ago, whatever, right? So those symptoms where those people start to show 10 to 14 days, that time is coming early, like in 2-3 days from now, like around March 30th, 31st. That's where I think we're going to see a spike. I hope, and I don't think that we're going to see a spike like LA or New York or anything, but I think we're going to see a significant one. But that's where, like,
well, wait, is testing as pervasive and available? And I wouldn't say they're compared to America, but at least compared to New York. I mean, is testing available to even identify that kind of spike?
There's apparently over 50 testing sites set up in Ontario, and a friend of mine I was talking to today, actually, his girlfriend works in public health in Waterloo region where I live, and where they turn people away, people are flipping out. But it's like, oh, you smoke fucking 5 packs of cigarettes a day and you have a cough. You got any other symptoms? No, just cough. Well, you smoke 5 packs of cigarettes a day. No wonder you fucking cough, right?
You're gonna cough, right?
Apparently, that's been the biggest problem here is the people showing up that have no business showing up, and then those people tie up the times at the testing centers by fucking no. What do you mean, man? You have to test me. It's my right. It's the law. Like, no, you're an idiot. Plus, today in February, our government helped China with medical supplies, and today China fucking donated tens of thousands of all kinds of things, gloves, masks, fucking all kinds of shit to help Canada today. So, you know how that's spread out. I'm assuming the GTA, Southern Ontario, is going to get the most of it. And then areas like, Vancouver and around that area, Surrey and all that. And then Edmonton, Calgary, Regina, Saskatoon, fucking Winnipeg, Montreal, obviously. They'll get a big bulk of it. New Brunswick, I mean, I don't even know anyone who lives in New Brunswick. PEI. PEI, actually, I don't know if they have any cases or not. Like, but you know what I mean? It'll probably be distributed where it's needed.
Hey, let the American girl in New York tell you that they do.
Yeah, no shit. Fuck.
No, well, one of my clients who I'm still in contact with, that's where they're based and where they live. So I don't think it's pervasive. Yeah. I don't think it's pervasive there. Yeah. In fact, no.
You guys just continued like a friendship or whatever afterwards?
Yeah. I can't work with them since when I left my agency, it would be a non-compete thing and they could sue me and whatever. But we're friends on Facebook, and I feel like from what I've seen, which has been very little, that they definitely do have something there. I mean, it's not like here, it's not like LA, it's not like Seattle, but I mean, at this point, you're talking how many countries in the world, 190 something, There are like a handful at this point that don't have it. So to say, oh yeah, Canada has coronavirus, I mean, that's not a realistic thing to envision. I mean, that'd be like saying, hey, yeah,
Well,
Russia has coronavirus. It'd be like Canada is
yeah.
very large.
It
But
isn't like fucking influenza A coronavirus. SARS is coronavirus.
so here's the thing. If you Google coronavirus and like not okay, don't Google that because all you'll find is this. But
Yeah.
if you Google it and go like 4 pages back, what you'll find is coronavirus, like not COVID-19, not novel coronavirus. But if you Google coronavirus, the family of coronavirus is very large. Like I said earlier, the common cold is a coronavirus. And I don't want to misspeak here, so like don't quote me on this, but I feel like I know SARS and MERS both were coronaviruses. So coronavirus in and of itself is not a new concept. It's not a new disease. This particular one is because it was transmitted from an animal in a way in which it shouldn't have been, and we didn't know it could infect people, and so on and so forth, and here we are. But yeah, if you just go do some research on coronavirus, you're going to be petrified because you're going to be like, oh my God, I got coronavirus. Look, you've had coronavirus probably 15 times in your life. Flus, colds, swine flu, well, whatever it is. You've had it. You just haven't had this one.
Mm-hmm. The SARS thing, I remember when that hit up here, like fucking Jesus Christ. But where I was like fucking 20, 21, 22 at the time, I didn't give a shit. Fucking, it was like avoid Toronto. I was like, I gotta go to the club though. I'm a fucking moron,
SARS?
right?
You were not 21 for SARS.
Yeah, probably around there. What year was SARS? What year did that cripple Toronto?
Well, I don't know about Toronto, but 2002, 2003.
Yo, you don't. What do you mean you don't know about Toronto? For real?
I don't know when it.
Toronto got hit worse than anywhere, dude. Like fuck, I was at the goddamn concert where all the artists, like tons of famous artists, got together to do a free concert at the I think it was at the Sky Dome, and people call it the Rogers Center now, but they can go fuck themselves. It's the Sky Dome. That place, I'm pretty sure it was there. AC/DC was the headliner, and Justin Timberlake was the co-headliner. And I was at that bitch when people were throwing things at Justin Timberlake, and he was like, hey, I'm trying to do my part. I get it. I want to hear AC/DC more than I want to hear Me Too, but just let me do my fucking part. I felt bad. I was like the NSYNC fucking kids up there. Fuck him. And I was like, he's not that bad of a guy.
The ramen-haired guy is still saying things.
SARS crippled Toronto. Like fucking ruined Toronto. Then again, I guess there's other things where, it's just that short jaunt across the border we've talked about in the past where you're like, no, I've never heard of this. Before, actually, when we were just chatting before we started the show, we talked about don't fuck with
heard
cat.
Of SARS. I just didn't know it was like a Toronto.
Oh, yeah. There's even a movie made about it. About how hard it impacted Toronto. Freaking
Hi, who are you talking to? Movie. Okay.
Don't fuck with cats. We were talking about that before we were chatting before we started this episode. Luca Magnotta. I remember when that shit happened and talking to you about it, and you're like, maybe not necessarily when it happened, but afterwards, like a couple years later or whatever, talking to you about it, and you're like, who? What? And I was like, he mailed fucking body parts to the government and took off to fucking Belgium or Berlin or wherever, and you were like, I've never heard of this before.
And I must say, I swiftly Googled because I am so morbid. But yeah, no, I was like, what do you mean? But to be fair, if there was any geographical somebody might know about it thing at that point, I definitely was not living here. I was in like Florida, which may as well be Mexico or Jamaica. Like there was no like geographical significance, but like maybe it didn't happen here. But I heard about it because it was close. Like, no.
Yeah, no, especially the SARS thing, because you were probably, it was 2003. I just looked it up. And you were working in healthcare when? After that?
No, I was definitely well. Okay, I'm glad you said that because the thing that I was like waiting to say is that like so SARS was definitely a thing when I was in healthcare. Now, 2003, I
That's
was
when
working.
that's when it hit Toronto.
Okay, so I can't speak on that for America because I don't
No, but
have
I'm saying like as far as like you were in healthcare at that time?
absolutely.
Still in
But what I was
still
going
in
to
high
say is
school.
that yeah. So no, high school, kill yourself. But no, my point was that like when SARS happened, I was in healthcare, but I was working in a nursing home, like we in north central bumfuck nowhere, Indiana. So, like the SARS thing was like crazy and scary and headlines and all these things. But it didn't impact me in a personal way. Now, if you want to talk about H1N1, when that happened, I was working at a public facing outpatient, walking off the street lab. And so, and I've said this to a number of people recently that, especially healthcare workers, where I'm like, oh my God, God love you, or whatever, like do your thing, high five, thank you. Yeah, and again, I actually posted a picture yesterday about this. Look, y'all, we're in trying times. Everybody's stressed. Shit's crazy. If you know or see a first responder, a firefighter, an EMT, a doctor, a nurse, a CNA, like thank them because they're not getting hazard pay, but they're also risking their lives every single second that they're
Here's
doing. They're simply paid to do. But the
right.
point is that H1N1, when that happened, I was working at an outpatient public facing lab. And while I would argue that in many ways H1N1 is not in any way similar to this, nor was it as big a threat or as scary, even at the time that it was happening versus now, it was petrifying knowing that all these people were coming into the building I worked in to have a Q-tip shoved so far up their nose that it might hit their brain as if one of my dogs was licking them. But you don't know who has it. You don't know what's happening. And so no, I don't remember. I remember the SARS thing. I remember the whole like global coverage of people wearing masks and Asians and the negative light they got on all that. But like the H1N1 thing, I was at a lab, not in a nursing home, and it was, I don't even want to say horrifying. I mean, because I feel like that doesn't compare to what's happening now in hospitals in Italy and Spain and Iran and here in New York City. But like the anxiety, the whole like service, duty, it's your job, it's what you love. All of these things conflict with the fact that like you're doing what you love to do and what you're paid to do, knowing that every 12 minutes or so, you're risking your life a new time over and over and over and over again. And that is horrifying to me.
Mm-hmm.
And again, speaking of somebody who...
Woo! Apparently someone's out in New York City.
Yeah, the one person. So I'm speaking as somebody in Brooklyn who just had Brooklyn happen. But, even in Indiana at that time, small community. Like, we're not a New York, we're not a Toronto. But it's this crazy... It's crazy in and of itself. But it's also this crazy communal thing where these people who are actually risking their lives day in and day out. And a lot of people don't think of healthcare professionals that way, but they are. Whether you're talking about the AIDS epidemic in the 80s and the early 90s, or you're talking about Zika or Ebola or SARS or MERS or H1N1 or whatever it is.
Fucking Hep C, it doesn't matter what it
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is. They take a risk every fucking time. You could be fucking the guy that transfers the patients. They pick up the patients and they put them in the fucking vans and move to another hospital or like a hospice or some shit.
I'm going to take you to get an x-ray.
Whatever the fuck it is, man. It doesn't, you don't have to be a fucking neurosurgeon. or like whatever, like it all the way down to anyone in healthcare, fucking PSWs, any of that shit. Like
Yes.
you are super exposed to everything every day, all day.
Literally all the
Yeah,
and
everything.
in a two-pronged way. That's what I'm saying, is that one, I feel like H1N1 pales in comparison to what we're dealing with now, obviously, because this situation we're all in globally right now didn't happen with H1N1. But also it on a from a healthcare perspective, like, this is terrifying. I'm on the front line, but like, people also don't, you, even if people are like, oh, Dr. Fauci, please talk to me and shut Trump the fuck up, right? Or my sister-in-law is a nurse practitioner and she's nervous, or whatever. People don't think about the entire chain of things. People don't talk about or think about, yeah, sure, the doctors, the nurses, and those people are paramount. But people don't think about the lab workers, the first responders, the firefighters, and I mean, I'm not trying to make some big stand here, but like, it's crazy. The number of people by volume, if you could put a number to it in a city or a county or a country, which I'm sure people can and have put numbers to, but I don't have access to, that just have touch points that deal not only with the public, like the public, stay home, don't go out, that's the public thing, but deal with the public and sick people and healthcare, is an astronomical number of people.
Yeah.
And, what do you do for them? Nothing. I mean, and I've actually seen, and this is incredibly depressing and just stupid. I've seen a number of comments online, at least recently, where people go, yeah, but you knew what you signed up for. And here's the thing. I kind of agree with that. Mostly I don't. I mean, if you want to be in the Army, the Navy, the, MPs, the whatever it is you want to be in, and then we go to war, or whatever, then I feel like that's a more, and still not right, but a more solid platform on which you can say, you know what you signed up for. When you're talking about doctors, nurses, EMTs, firefighters, whatever, you know what you signed up for. Yeah, I knew I could be in danger. I knew I could be on the front line. I didn't know that a global pandemic in this country, where leadership has fumbled and failed miserably at literally every single term, might cost me my life or the life of my family. So I don't know where these comments are coming from and who these fucking people are, and I hope they all die in a fire collectively, but
they will. They'll run themselves over with a car or something. Or those are the dumbest people in the world that manage to fucking screw themselves over the worst because they don't take any of this shit fucking seriously, or don't realize the severity of whether it be the pandemic or the people putting their lives on the line. Even fucking grocery store workers. Do you think of a teenager fucking is like, I want a part-time job fucking putting fucking cans of Campbell's fucking soup on the shelves so I can get some money, so I can get a little weed on the weekend and maybe buy myself a new pair of jeans while I finish grade 12. Now it's fucking, you could die. I ain't doing that for minimum wage, right? Like, it's fucking, they're fucking frontline workers.
But people aren't even talking about those.
No,
they are in New York City, and they should.
As a paramedic or as a cop or as a firefighter, I mean, you signed up for that shit, right? But it's like 9/11.
Whoa, no, stop there though. Do you believe? I mean, look, as a cop, as a firefighter, paramedic, yeah, you did sign up to be frontline people, but you didn't sign up for that when this is something that nobody could have ever seen coming.
Like 9/11, the firefighters, okay? Fucking, you signed up. I get it. You didn't sign up to run into a fucking 100 and whatever story fucking building that's on fire and collapsing. You didn't sign up for that. Fucking, I could be the bravest fucking firefighter in the world. I don't think I would have the fucking nuts to go in that goddamn, either one of those towers on that day, right? You didn't sign up for that. That part you didn't sign up for. Just like this. You didn't sign up for a worldwide pandemic. You signed up to help people and save lives and shit, right? Like, to be a first responder. Not this shit. Right. So,
which doesn't mean you can be like, hey, I'm out. But that does not mean other people who don't do what you do have the right to be like, what do you mean? You signed up for this. Dick, yeah, I did in a way, but I signed up for a thing that is not this, that is fighting this, while you are sequestered at home getting unemployment.
now that's what I'm saying about like the grocery store workers and shit. Yo, fucking Tim Hortons is still open here. You need coffee? Coffee's an essential fucking service?
Well, wait, completely or like no. Like completely or like carry out and drive through only?
Yeah. Well, fucking the dining room's completely closed at all of them. Well, they call it a dining room, but it's not a dining room. It's a fucking area with fucking 4 to 10 tables in it, depending on the size of it. Yeah. But there's a Tim Hortons, like fucking. It's not even a joke. Like almost on every block for the most part. Fucking. So there's like mini ones with no inside. They just have 2 drive-throughs, one on each side. You can't come inside at all. Like even before this shit. So like, but now they're down. Oh, they also deliver coffee now to this company called Skip the Dishes.
Were they doing that before this, or
I don't know? But why are you fucking buying a $2 coffee plus paying $7.50 delivery charge plus tipping the fucking like? You can't go get some fucking Maxwell House, right?
Okay, wait, no, that shit's terrible. But
I don't know. I don't drink coffee, but I'm saying you fucking Tim Hortons needs to be open so you can get fucking coffee. So now those people, they didn't ever sign up for any of this. No, they signed up to serve fucking coffee or the grocery store workers. That's where I'm saying, like, you know what? Okay, paramedics, firefighters, they did sign up for being what their job is. That's where, like, the right to refuse, they don't have that. But, I mean, fucking, they didn't sign up for this. The firefighters didn't sign up to run in those towers on 9/11. They didn't sign up for that. You know, they signed up for this frontline thing, but there are some exceptions. But when you get to, like, a fucking... Not even a barista, a fucking person who fucking presses the button on the machine and the fucking coffee comes out pre-made. You definitely didn't fucking sign up for this.
So wait, question. Up there at least, and this down here differs from state to state. So I don't know that it would be like nationwide up there or provincial or whatever, but like down here, there from state to state are many differences in the allowances for staying open for a business and saying, hey, you're essential. So one good example would be in New York and in a number of other states, they have considered liquor stores to be essential. And there have been a lot of people who have been like, what the fuck, blah, blah. Now, there's 2 standpoints here for it. Yeah. One would be, I don't even want to say sanity, like it's that important, but if there are this many people who are out of work, can't leave the house, whatever, just have to be at home.
Yep.
I'm not going to say what else could you do. There are a lot of other things that you can do than drink. You know,
join the building downtown and drink with us.
Here we are. Right.
But now it's not just drinking. You're doing something while you're drinking.
Right. Right. But I'm saying, like, read a book, write a book, get a hobby, do a thing, whatever. So the other side of that, and this is a very small percentage of people, but the other part of that is, much like drugs, there are plenty of people who are addicted to alcohol. And while that percentage and what would happen to that percentage is very small compared to other ailments and situations, there are super alcoholics, right? So if you go, hey, you can't buy alcohol, suddenly you're going to find these people detoxing and withdrawing hard and having comorbidities, other problems, going to the hospital. And in a healthcare system that's already overwhelmed, you can't have people going, oh, I can't have my, bottle of wine tonight or whatever it is, going to the hospital, making it even worse.
Yes.
But so, and that is such a small percentage of people. I kind of feel irresponsible even saying that. But the point
But it is a thing. It is a thing. No, it's an argument they have. I can't wait till you're done because fucking, I don't know if you remember me telling us or not before. Continue.
Okay. No, I am done.
You guys have.
Like, well, no. I'm no. You guys can buy. My done is a question. My done is whether it be provincial or cities or countrywide up there, there's a lot of differentiation down here from state to state as to what is essential or not. Car dealerships, laundromats, liquor stores, whatever. So, like up there in the places that have reached the point of closing things down that are not non-essential, which is not the majority of your country, but there are some places who have done it. What is considered essential or non-essential?
The list. I shared it on my Facebook. Not that everybody's listening is going to be on my Facebook, but it's the list of essential services is so fucking vague. I was actually talking to when I went to pick up that Serbian food today. I was telling you about. There was another guy there picking up Serbian food, and I was chatting with him, and he works in a. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but from what I gathered from what he's saying, it's some sort of a testing lab for testing, not medication, but like OTC medication, basically.
Okay.
Not even medication, like fucking vapor rubs and like fucking A535 type bullshit, okay? But some of the stuff they do testing on has cannabis properties in it. Cannabis or like dispensaries are still allowed to be open because they're medicine. His company has 250 employees that have to go to work every day because some of the stuff they test has cannabis properties in it and dispensaries are still open. That's fucking horseshit, right? Like, so the essential services list is fucking so vague and broad. It is everyone can stay open. Fucking barbers, hair salons, laundromats, car dealerships. Yo, I was actually talking to a guy
up there.
I was talking to a guy. It was about 8 days ago. Yeah, 8 days ago it was. And he fucking works at a car dealership and was talking to me about sales because of me working in sales. And he was telling me what the money I could make. There's a little side note here. He's like, yo, you could do like 30 grand a year easy. I was like, holy fuck. Wow. No, thank you. So anyway,
Right.
Oh yeah. I was just like, Jesus Christ, that's where you fucking get off 30 grand. Whoa. Holy fuck. Do you eat? Because I like to eat.
Like,
that's not eating.
Right.
So anyway,
Sorry.
he said he sells cars fucking more than ever because people with money are bored. So, like, yeah, the list of essential services is stupid. But the alcohol thing, you guys have privatized alcohol sales, like liquor stores. We don't. The LCBO is where we buy our liquor. LCBO stands for Liquor Control Board of Ontario. So the government makes money off all the alcohol that's sold, the provincial government. So they did the same thing. Well, what about people, if an alcoholic fucking can't get his booze, he takes it on the wife and kids. Yeah, there's some truth to that, definitely. But let's be completely transparent here. You make money off every fucking bottle, can, whatever sold, right? So it's there's a whole thing going on with that here where people are bitching. But you know what the funniest part is? People bitching like, fucking government, they just want to keep making money. It's like, yeah, but you drink, right? Oh, yeah. So you want to stay open, right? Oh, yeah. So they fucking don't bitch. But
wait, what was there any of this blowback with the weed stuff? Like, what's the difference?
The fucking nobody shops at the government weed stores, man. They're fucking trash. The Ontario fucked up the weed retail weed so bad. In the first year of legalization, Canada made as a country 8-point-something billion off taxing weed. Ontario lost 47 million. Yeah, Ontario fucked the whole thing up big time because what they tried to do.
Like, why?
Oh well, what the first thing they did is they did a lottery, and you had to have I forget how many fucking tens of thousands. I think it was 60 grand to enter the lottery. You don't get your 60 grand back, and then in the lottery they're like, in this lottery we're giving out 3 dispensary licenses, but those dispensary licenses only allow you to buy from the government and price point as the government says, okay? The provincial government. Now, these fucking lotteries, all these people applied and threw in their fucking 60 Gs or whatever it was, and they don't get that back. And all these places that won lotteries were these like fucking either big pharma or farming companies that were already intertwined with the fucking provincial government. The fucking weed is, the prices are out of this fucking world. There's just stupid dumb, like nobody would pay these prices. A fucking, maybe if you're in grade 8 and like you got to give your money to your buddy who gives it to his buddy, who gives it to his older brother, who gives it to his girlfriend, who gives it to this guy she knows, and that guy takes it to another guy, and then the weed comes back down the fucking chain. Like it's fucking, the prices are, nobody pay these prices. They're stupid and they're taxed. I went and won like a week or two ago for the first time ever. Well, actually, probably 2-3 weeks because I haven't been going out much since this shit's been going on. But that was the first time I ever went and won. And gram of weed,
$9.99. Wait. I saw your post, so I know you're disdain. But like that was the first time
in a government dispensary. Yeah, $9.99 plus tax for a gram of weed. Suck my cock. That's my answer to that. Fucking half quarters, $42.99. I guess most people in the world call them an eighth. Actually, it's apparently a thing right here.
Yeah, no. Yeah, yeah.
$42.99. $42.99 plus tax.
Fuck.
And I've tried weed from people who bought weed there, and it's like fucking, it's so fucking old and dry and stale, and like, what are you fucking assholes doing? There are so many better options. So yeah, the Ontario government fucked it right up, like right up. Storefront dispensaries are also fucking not the greatest to buy from. Online ordering is the best, or if you have, delivery service. Weed Maps is a good one that I use sometimes, and they like have dispensaries or like delivery dispensaries close to you, but they're not government officiated, right? So the Ontario government, by being greedy, fucked up so bad. Because I remember bitching to you about this a few years ago. Kathleen Wynne, she was the premier at this time. This bitch was just out there like, spend. Fuck it. Just everybody gets free everything. Fucking, you can have a free everything. You can have a free everything. You can have a free everything. And everyone was like, where's the money coming from? Yeah, exactly. And fuck, Kathleen Wynne would be like, don't worry about where the money's coming from. What do you fucking mean? Don't worry about it. I'm kind of fucking concerned. And then she was liberal, and then conservatives got in. That's Doug Ford, who's I think globally the most famous premier ever in Canada was Rob Ford. That's Doug Ford's brother. He's passed away now. Doug Ford is conservative and like super conservative. So he came in, he was just like, we're cutting tens of thousands of nursing jobs, doctor jobs, teacher jobs, and like fucking.
Why?
Because he's a fucking idiot too. He's on the other spectrum of Kathleen Wynne.
No, but what was his reason?
Because Kathleen Wynne spent so much goddamn money. We were so far in debt. So the dispensary thing was like, oh, yo, this is how we'll do it. And the fucking province will get a bunch of money and I'll fill my pockets too. And obviously nobody that was involved in that talked to anyone that smokes weed. They're like, yo, we'll take this dirty, dry weed that's like fucking 18 months old. We'll put it in a fucking plastic container with a label on it and charge people $42.99 plus tax. That'll bring them in. Like, yeah, another fucking $30-$40. I'm getting fucking 28 grams to Primos. Fuck you guys, right? Like, hashtag black market strong. They fucked it up so bad, man.
So wait, as somebody who's not like uber familiar with your government, what was your not even what is your outlook? For somebody who at least knows who Trudeau is, just based on, social media, whatever else, is he, I would guess, and I'll say this without you answering the question, I would guess that he is liberal. And I'm not saying like grossly liberal, but younger, progressive liberal. Is that the case? Is he, I mean, we've had these conversations privately about Democrats and Republicans in this country, and you're like, what does that mean? So I feel like he would be a slightly conservative liberal, which here would make him a Democrat. Is that the case? I mean, I know you guys have had many misgivings about him. There's all kinds of views.
I am the absolute wrong person to ask because I don't follow politics.
Wait, you don't know if he's conservative or liberal? He's been there forever.
I don't fucking. He's liberal. But I mean, what the? Okay, he's liberal. That's the party he represents.
Okay.
Okay, based on his traits, his actions, the things he's done, I have no fucking input. Obviously, I see the highlights here and there, but just because he's like, "Oh, I'm liberal," it's not as cut and dry as it is down there. It's not as black and white. You know what I mean? Like you guys have your Dems and your Republicans, and it's like one or the other. Pick a fucking side. And the leaders here are not as black and white as that. The people here are not as black and white as that, like as in their options. But like once again, fuck, right at the start, I said I'm the wrong person to ask because I don't follow it enough. I don't have a fucking dog in the fight. I just kind of I let people go and vote. I let everybody lie. I let everybody fucking take their picks on which lies they believe the most. And I wait for it to end and fucking deal with it. I've never voted.
Well,
I also part of the reason I don't vote. It's not like I don't vote because it's the fucking fuck the government. I don't vote because I'm ill-informed, and it's got to the point that like I choose to be ill-informed. I don't really want to fucking know. I got the cliff notes. I see what's what, and like it's fucking every little thing that comes out. I don't dissect it. Like, oh, well, he said this, but what's this person have to say? Can he really do that? Let's look at the numbers. I don't fucking know, and I'm not gonna sit here and be like, well, Trudeau this, Trudeau that. I like based on face value, I think he's a fucking tool, but that's as far as that goes. But then again, I'm a person who liked Rob Ford, and that motherfucker was smoking rocks. So I'm probably not the best guy to choose who the leader of anything is. Maybe a piss up at the local Legion.
That is accurate as fuck. But here's another thing, though, is that I think while I have no knowledge of Canadian politics and the parties and the people running and all that stuff, down here at least, one of the there are many issues and arguments, but one of them is like socialism good, socialism bad, universal healthcare, free college, la la la.
See, that's another thing that Americans are confused about too. Tons of Americans who I've talked to, been friends with over the years. Like if I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta go to a goddamn dentist. This is gonna cost me fucking. They're like, what do you mean it's gonna cost you? You live in Canada. The fucking dentist ain't fucking free.
Well, and even if it was, you want to get in tomorrow, not next year.
Yeah, and like fucking medication isn't free. If something happened right now and I had to call an ambulance or like someone was here and something happened to me and they called an ambulance, I get a bill in the mail for that fucking ambulance.
Sure.
Yeah, but like that's not. We don't have like this crazy universal healthcare where it's like, yo, just show up at the hospital. It's all good. You're covered. No, you're not. Now, you are covered for the most part, which is a nice safety net, right? Like, you break your fucking arm or you fucking snap your fucking ankle or something, and like somebody drives you to the hospital, you're not going to get billed for every single fucking thing. So it's nice having that comfort. But our taxes are a little higher as well. So we do pay for it. Right.
So, you're paying for it out of your taxes every day, every week, every month, every paycheck. But what I was getting at is that like, here politically, that's a big argument, especially on the liberal side of things. And right now with Bernie Sanders, people are like, socialism, we don't want to be a socialist country and whatever. And that means different things to different people because people are ill-informed. But that being said, it to me is interesting to hear how, like, to go back to what we were talking about with the COVID thing, the coronavirus. I mean, if somebody was sick and wanted to be, or should be tested up there, I'm not saying everybody would have access, and maybe they would. I don't really know how it's working up there. Testing is still not pervasive in most countries, but
no, they
if
don't.
They were, if they were to be tested, whether they're one step away from a ventilator in a hospital or whatever else, is that something you're going to get a bill for?
Oh, no. See, that's where like what I'm saying, like you're that comfort like coverage is there. So the testing part where there's so much preliminary, like screening and shit going on. They're, I don't want to say like fucking hoarders with the testing or anything, but they don't waste the testing, right? They fucking, people may have symptoms or whatever. They go through a screening. If they decide not to test you, they're not going to test you. So the difference is where you're paying for your health care, they can't really say no if you have the money, right? And you want to get tested? Hello?
Well, no, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to, I thought you.
Where you are.
Like, yeah. Oh, no, me? No. Do I want to get tested? No.
No.
I
You
want to get tested for antibodies.
in the United States. In the United States. If you if you walk up and you have the money or the insurance or whatever, they have to test you, right? You're paying for it, right? Here, it's not that. Right? So you can't just walk up and you can't demand it. You get what I'm saying?
No, it's the same here.
Now,
like,
you're not going to be billed whether you just do the screening or you have the whole testing. You're not going to be billed no matter what the process is. But they're going to be more conservative with the testing. They're not just going to be like, yeah, fuck it, test them all. Whereas you guys pay for shit, right? Like that's why our waiting rooms are full, and in a lot of, not a lot, but well, any American healthcare facilities, whether it be hospitals, clinics, whatever the fuck, you got money, you don't have to go sit and emerge for fucking 8, 9, 15 hours before they fucking start working on your broken arm.
I mean, okay, depends on where you live here, but yeah. Well, and also to speak to what you're talking about testing, in New York, as a very small example compared to the rest of the country, has been and will continue doing more testing than anywhere else. So that's one of the reasons our numbers are so high. Like numbers are that high, probably across most of the country, or at least where all the metro areas are. There just aren't all those tests. So that being said, it's the testing part of it is no different here. I mean, if you're in the hospital and you're on the brink of a ventilator, if you have traveled to another country, if you have a family member or somebody in your home who has tested positive, yes, you can get tested. But this whole like, whoa, test for everybody and we're doing more testing than anybody. No, the average person, if they're not so close to being in the hospital that they could throw a stone at it, cannot get tested here. And I mean here like New York City, which is the paramount point I'm making, because New York City is testing more than anywhere else. But like that's this whole country. Like, and that's not a universal healthcare thing. That's just, whether it be based on need, whether it be based on symptoms, whatever it is, you can't anywhere in this country just go, oh, I'm scared, I'm nervous, I coughed, I sneezed, I need a test. Like you did. No. You have to meet criteria, and the criteria still at this point is pretty stringent.
Yeah. Fuck. I hate being up against time because now we got to wrap this bitch up.
I mean, you got 30 minutes, so let's move beyond this.
No, I don't. Read your goddamn messages, asshole. Yeah, see, she's not good at this, guys. You know what's amazing, though?
Okay.
You know what's amazing, though? Back when she was running Punch Drunk Radio, she could host the show. She had 2 co-hosts, like Alex and Mike, but she was the main host of the show. She could
and the social
run the
media
show,
manager, and
run the social media,
and the producer,
and the fucking chat room, and do things, because this is back in the old school Twitter days where you'd have to do the RT tweet and do things like text me and be like, yo, fucking BJ Penn's on next. Can you do RT? Da, 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 da. I'm like, yeah, no fucking problem. And now you can't even read a fucking text message and talk. Come on.
You what did you tell me before? Not 10 o'clock. And now you're like 10:05.
I told you 9:30, motherfucker. No. Oh, yeah. Read.
Also, if you met your dad now or in 20 minutes or an hour.
He told me to be there by 10:05 and it's 10:02.
I realize that. But like, if you did that and you were still on the phone or on the whatever you're on and recording, and you told him you were talking to me, He'd be like, Amy,
He would.
what up? I know.
I'm not on the phone.
I mean, but you could be.
I don't record shows on the phone.
But you could.
See, listeners, how awkward shit gets right here right now.
This is not awkward.
This could be edited. This could be edited, but it's not going to be.
No.
All right. Fuck. That was a good conversation. I was liking where that was going. That's why I said I hate being up against time.
COVID-19, building downtown, best, 100% best profile picture ever. Go on.
It does have a nice profile picture.
On Twitter.
Facebook too.
Really?
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Yo, even Instagram had the same picture, but then they locked me out when I put my phone number in. I don't know. All right. You respond to your text messages? Because this is, I guess this be the Building Downtown episode 13. And I don't know, maybe we'll do 14 in like 14 minutes or something.
It should be episode 19, COVID-19. But go on.
That's terrible. You're a horrible human being. Follow the show at the Building DT. I follow Amy if you want to at Ames Bell.
Oh wait, can you spend 1 extra minute and tell them why it's the Building DT and not the Building Downtown?
Shut your whore mouth. That's right.
Wow. Okay.
See, that cuts him coming back for episode 9 or 14. Because I guess you're probably going to be the co-host of that one too. And maybe we won't talk so much COVID-19. It's no, but it was a good conversation, and I think the difference in countries and talking about the difference in for one example, that one hospital in Queens, but me up here, it's like I'm like, holy shit! Every single hospital in New York City has all these ice trucks outside of it and shit.
No, they will give it a
Right.
week. We're peaking.
But yeah.
14 to 21 days. But yeah,
Yeah, there was some good information. This is not what we intended at all. We intended to talk about some whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop, but I think that may be episode 14. Thanks for listening. Building DT, Ames Bell, AMESBELLE. Bars Bells, she also goes by.
You are
not on Twitter, but you can call her that. Other than that, subscribe. You know where to follow. Stay safe. Don't breathe in other people's air. Don't get too close to people.
Don't go outside.
Yeah, and if you have to, like I know, I need cheese.
Right.
I got to get some fucking cheese. I'm out of cheese, and melted cheese should be its own food group, in my opinion. I've said this many times in my life. I got to get some fucking cheese tomorrow, but I'm going to be very careful getting cheese. And you also should be careful of doing whatever the fuck you people do. Seriously. Amy, I'm going to talk to you shortly offline. Thanks for listening. Till next time.
Building downtown. Building downtown. Building downtown. Building